Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And if you were watching my earlier broadcast, during the end of a what I think is a very important and compelling interview you should check out if you have not seen that, I played a clip of a nurse who took the current vaccine and her reaction several days later. Now, we've gone over those numbers here of the first 4 days of vaccination. I would love to see if anybody has anything available over the last week plus and overall on what kind of adverse reactions we have. But the doctor behind me is kind of being sold as the first person to have, first medical professional to have an adverse reaction to, I believe it is the Moderna vaccination. Because we're going to play you a clip of, again, a medical professional who had a severe reaction on the spot with the Pfizer vaccine, and that got literally no attention nationally, whereas this one seems to be getting a little bit more attention. And then we're also going to go into mainstream authoritative sources that are talking about vitamin deficiency and certain other ways. They're saying, not Jason Burmis, he's not a doctor, will more than likely protect you from getting this virus or having a bad case when you get this virus or if you get this virus. So before we get into it, let's thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Remember, we're fully demonetized on this platform. It'll be 9 months a week from now. 9 full months. You know, no emails back. We can't get thumbnails reviewed on this channel. So $5, $10, $15. Big donors. You do mean the world to me. I will be going to D.C. For this large event. I got to put that all together, but it looks like I'm going to be going with Pat Miletich. So we should be doing some interesting on-the-road broadcasts as we head down to D.C. Extremely excited about that because there's a lot going on in the world. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share if you are new to the channel. If you're not a member of the Burmis Brigade, what are you waiting for? Again, they're going to have to kick me out of here, literally kicking and screaming, as everything I'm going to show you are from mainline sources. Mainline sources. That's how we do it here. That's how we combat the disinformation with the good information. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shave the Motion Picture. They're free right here, right now in the playlist section. And guess what? Rockfin, Rockfin, Rockfin. We will be live 11 a.m. tomorrow, Monday through Friday, Eastern Time. We do it live. We do it exclusive. Sometimes we put bits and pieces or the whole broadcast on YouTube. Sometimes we don't. It's always live and free during the week. Then we put it behind the premium barrier. This is another great way to support me. $9.99 a month. You get every single creator. It's like a Netflix for creators, and it is growing, growing, growing. So thank you to all of my new subscribers and supporters over at Rockfin. You truly do rock, and I hope that you're coming for those live streams. I hope you're checking them out. You know, again, we're putting them out there over on Rockfin because who knows what happens on this platform. So let's do it, and let's do it live. This is the doctor that we're talking about. Boston cancer doctor with an allergy to shellfish. You notice they put that, that's the headline. The allergy to shellfish becomes the first person in the world. See, that's the whole thing. I don't understand how this is the first person in the world. Okay, unless the Moderna vaccine was that far behind the Pfizer. Okay, and now they're saying there's at least 6 similar reported cases in the United States associated with Pfizer. But we've played that. And notice shellfish is in this one. That's why I think it's really important that we're going to show you this. Okay, authoritative source. All right, the 17th, now a week and a half ago, health worker, severe allergic reaction to the Pfizer vaccine. This was nowhere in the national headlines. Twice, and then has to be hospitalized. 2 times treated and has to be hospitalized. Let's hear it.
Healthcare workers from coast to coast are getting the Pfizer vaccine. The first severe allergic reaction has been reported in the U.S. It happened to a healthcare worker in Alaska. The woman had no history of reactions, and it's not known if she has any other types of allergies. After getting the vaccine, the woman had shortness of breath and a rash within minutes. She was given a dose of epinephrine and responded immediately, but later needed another dose of it. She is being monitored at a hospital.
So monitored at a hospital. This is 10 days ago. The story you saw yesterday just broke yesterday. He's the first person. And I'm just saying, can I even question that he's the first person? I'm pretty sure that if I looked, I could definitely find the Moderna vaccine. I mean, first of all, if you just went back to the trials, okay, of these vaccines, he couldn't be the first person because they didn't have a 0% reaction rate. In fact, let's show you this. You know, again, doctors say CDC should warn people the side effects from COVID vaccine won't be a walk in the park. American Medical Association. Sandra Freihofer. Okay? As a practicing physician, she said she worries whether patients will come back for a second dose because of the potentially unpleasant side effects they may experience after the first shot. And remember, Fauci's, booping Santa Claus, no problem. He says, don't abandon masks or social distancing after getting the vaccination. All right? Doesn't want you to handshake. That's the guy. Meanwhile, again, researchers warn some COVID-19 vaccines could increase the risk of HIV infection. And don't tell me. There we go. I was going to say. And we have those HIV false positives. Now, listen, I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding HIV. I've seen House of Numbers. I get criticized in the comments for, talking about quote unquote biowarfare. I'm putting out there what I believe with the best information that I've found and doing so with a grain of salt. I just want to put that out there. All right. While all this is going on, I also want to repeat that vitamin D, Boston Herald, can help reduce coronavirus risk by 54%. And we're going to get into that in a moment, but I want to show one more thing. And if you didn't see my broadcast, if you didn't watch the end of it, buckle up because this is not an easy one. Listen to this young lady, this nurse, this medical professional.
Hi, I am a registered nurse in Nashville, Tennessee, and my name is Kalila Mitchell. I'm reaching out to everyone about the COVID-19 vaccination. I recently took the COVID-19 vaccination. After the shot, I felt fine, but within 3 days, I went to the doctor because I had problems with my face. The whole left side of my face, actually. I have Bell palsy now. And as you can see, I can't smile. I'm trying to smile. I'm just kind of embarrassing for it. But I just want everyone to know that I think this vaccination is the worst thing ever. And I would not give this to anybody, even my worst enemy. Please, America, they do not care about us. Do not take this vaccination.
So there you go. What else do I have to say? You look at, for instance, vitamin D here. We're going to show you something else. And by the way, authoritative sources, dextromethasone. Authoritative sources, remdesivir, all these other ones. You have doctors going before the Senate talking about ivermectin. You have Bartlett and budesonide, another steroid. You have the study that we've gone over that people with asthma who are taking inhaled steroids are 30% less likely to even be infected. Right? But it's this vaccine that's being pushed. And it may be naughty of me to just show you that poor woman. Okay? Studies suggest, this is Fox Houston, 4 vitamins to lower the risk of severe cases of COVID-19.
We've learned a lot the past year about how to fight COVID-19, and now the latest studies backed by medical science show an arsenal in your medicine cabinet might make a big difference in the simple form of vitamins. We get all types of medical tests to evaluate everything from blood pressure to cholesterol. After dozens of studies have recently shown the importance of vitamin D when fighting COVID-19, Dr. Peter Osborne with Origin's Nutrition Center suggests you consider a blood test to check your vitamin levels.
So, think about all these tools that have been readily available to us since day one. Think about how China is now unlocked, all right? And there's no talk of a vaccine, right? And yet, for some reason, these people at the World Economic Forum, they think they're going to be leaders after this great reset, this globalist ideal set. What is going on in the upside down? Okay, so let's just continue here.
I think that's probably one of the smartest things that a person could do right now. With an unpredictable, relatively unknown illness, what we do know at this point about vitamin therapy, particularly about vitamin D, a new study has come out and a new analysis has come out on what we know about vitamin D and COVID so far. And here's what we know. People with low vitamin D who get COVID have a greater tendency toward dying, have a greater tendency toward hyperinflammation in the cytokine storm that comes with COVID, and have a greater tendency toward getting on ventilators, which are very bad because ventilators don't work very well. They're when a person's on a ventilator with COVID, it's not a good thing. So the outcomes aren't great. So if we can keep people off of ventilators, if we can keep people uninflamed, and we can keep their immune system supported really well with nutrition, ideally that makes the most sense.
Dr. Osborne says the most recent studies show that 9 out of 10 COVID deaths could be prevented if people had adequate vitamin D levels.
9 out of 10. And remember, we've already shown you that CDC document, 0.8 of a person over a 7-day period out of 100,000 in the United States is actually dying from this. And now on top of that, you could save 9 out of 10. But again, I'm not saying this. These are doctors' studies, local news. I hope this is authoritativeness, or is Fox 26 in Houston, now the equivalent of total misinformation and conspiracy theory.
Vitamin D in our bodies often goes down in the wintertime because fewer people are outside and not soaking it all up from the sun. You need at least 20 minutes of sunlight every day to get an adequate amount, which is why a supplement is often needed to get to that healthy level. Some hospitals around the country are even using vitamins as a treatment for COVID, not just prevention.
A lot of doctors are now learning this and coming out and saying things about this. The East Virginia School of Medicine actually has a COVID protocol that includes vitamin D. So if you're a patient that gets hospitalized for COVID, they're automatically putting you between 20,000 and 60,000 units of vitamin D. This is part of their standard of care protocol in that hospital system.
Dr. Osborne believes vitamin D is...
Wait a minute, hospitals? Medical facilities? This is just wacky. And I don't know.
One of the most simple and affordable ways to stay healthy.
Vitamin D, very inexpensive. You can buy it at the local nutrition store, and it might just save your life should you get sick.
That's huge. What do you suggest to your patients? How much are you wanting them to take per day? You talked about the protocols of once you're in the hospital, but what about on a daily basis, vitamin B or vitamin C and D?
So we're trying to be preventative, and we want to use preventative measures to hopefully put the odds in our favor from one, not getting sick, and two, if we do get sick, to minimize the strength of the illness. So with vitamin D, there's a therapy that can be done that I recommend, and it's 1,000 IU, 1,000 international units of vitamin D per pound. So if you're 100 pounds, you would take 100,000 international units of vitamin D for 3 days. After that, you don't have to keep taking those higher doses, but 3 days of high dose vitamin D will elevate your serum vitamin D levels to adequate levels.
Dr. Osborne encourages everyone to think of fighting COVID naturally as a 4-pronged approach using 4 different supplements.
Wow. Well, I guess here we go. 4 different supplements. Here you go. You got your vitamin D. I'm going to imagine your vitamin C. We're going to go with zinc. So let's see.
Number 1 is vitamin D. Get your levels up. And you can also ask your doctor to test your levels. A very easy blood test. Number 2, vitamin C. We know it's working well. There have been some studies on COVID where vitamin C has shown to have very good benefits in the outcome of illness. Number 3, zinc. Zinc stops viral replication multiple ways. So it prevents the virus from hijacking your DNA. It prevents the virus from replicating. It also prevents the virus from entering the cell. So zinc, very important right now.
Some hospitals are treating COVID with all 4 of those supplements. Dr. Osborne says these are the ones to focus on to cover your bases nutritionally.
So there you go. There it is. You know, I mean, but again, what are we having? We're having, you know, doctors. But again, try to say shellfish. They play down this one from 10 days ago. No allergies twice. We have these studies on vitamins. You know, I mean, when are we going to learn? When are we going to learn? No, we're going to have an exodus from New York. New York might actually lose a House seat. So many people have left because of the authoritarian measures that they're not going to be. And they're they're preparing you for mandatory vaccinations. Now we're talking about herd immunity, because now herd immunity is only through vaccinations. Never in the history of humanity was that a thing, but now all of a sudden, that's a thing. Okay? And I just want to remind people, while they're locking it down in New York, this was me last night at a bar with normal people, with no masks and no restrictions, living my life, and there were several places like it. Live music. Remember that? Again, maybe not the best live music out there, but it wasn't terrible, and it was allowed. Remember that, guys? Huh? Yeah. The Great Resistance. It's time to fight back. Who knows what's coming up? And believe me, I mean, again, if you watched my interview from before, we talked about a lot of that. So we're going to wrap it up. Thumbs the video up on the way out. Only 142 thumbs. Can we get 250 on this one? I think a lot of important information. $5, $10, $15, big donors. Thank you so much. That's how we doozy. That's how we doozy. Get on the Rockfin. Make that free account. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. We do it live. We do it free. And sometimes we do it a little too spicy for YouTube, so it just gets left up there. Premium members, you get all the archives. You get everybody's content, all the premium content. There's a lot of great free content on there as well. And again, this is a platform that has a section called Free Thinking Media. That's letting me do my thing. Thank you. I mean, was it so dangerous to show you those things? So you could have some semblance of what the reality of this whole situation is? Thumbs it up, subscribe, share, join the Burmese Brigade. Check out all the documentary films in the playlist section. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture. I absolutely love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip side.